the show, Matt.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So you just so you lived in California before. You just moved to Miami, and actually before that, tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
Yeah, so I actually was living in Arizona. I still have a house out there, and
okay.
I just got a place out here. I felt like it was for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah,
I'm happy to dive into that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
So, yeah, I could talk about my early life and then how I came to where I am to be today.
Does it have anything to do with our governor while you came here, or
For
no?
sure.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. He's my favorite governor in the country.
Yeah, I think me too.
Yeah.
To me, it seems
he has my vote in 24 if he runs for president.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's only 2 United States. Is South Dakota and Florida. That's
That's right. Other than that, they should secede.
They are not united. I will
No,
tell you that.
no. I'm with you. So funny, I said South Dakota. I'm actually born and raised out of Montana.
Oh, really?
Out of Montana, yeah.
Okay.
So my grandparents had like 5,500 acres outside of Missoula, Montana.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
So I had a pretty interesting upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a good upbringing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change growing up in Montana for anything.
Okay.
So yeah, just kind of a rambunctious teenager in my early years, partier, got in trouble semi-often.
Yeah, okay.
Couldn't hold a job.
Tell us about that. Yeah, John Malott got in trouble a little bit too.
John Malott got a lot more trouble than I did.
Okay, I was like, what type of trouble are we talking?
I did some just overnighters in jail, not to this extent.
Oh yeah, that's
but fighting, drinking, all the nonsense.
Free rent for a night. It's
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Keeps you warm.
So, but what? So, I guess let's start from the childhood, just because. What your main thing right now is a weed business, right?
Marijuana,
that's what
kind of
marijuana
my
business.
Fame or whatever.
But what is when you were a child? Like, did you see yourself here at all, or like how did you get to where you are?
No, I grew up in a conservative family in Montana.
Okay.
Weed was very taboo.
Yeah.
Alcohol was okay.
Yeah.
So I started drinking when I was about 14.
Okay. Yeah.
Got my first run-in with the law at 14 while drinking.
Yep.
But no, I really wasn't a big marijuana guy.
Okay.
I would dabble, smoke pot here and there or whatever, but it was not the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s in Montana, so.
Okay, gotcha.
I lean more towards the partying side of it, like with alcohol.
Yeah. And what about now? Are you?
I still party with alcohol a little bit here and there, but it's the older I get, the less and less it becomes.
Okay, gotcha.
I do use cannabis every night to sleep.
Yeah. Okay,
so
gotcha.
I've had sleeping issues since I was a kid.
Oh, really?
I've tried everything, and so.
And cannabis is the only thing.
It's. I'm just lucky I found something natural that works.
Yeah.
So.
For sure, yeah. It's maybe you would, if anybody would know, you would know. When I was younger, I smoked weed like every day. Okay. So I was like, and it was the best. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, for some reason now when I smoke it, sometimes I get anxiety and stuff. Like it doesn't hit me the way it used to hit me. So I avoid it now.
I think that's a couple reasons.
Yeah. I'm curious.
There's probably a lot more going on in your life now.
Yeah.
A lot more stress.
Yeah.
A lot more moving parts. And so if you smoke the wrong type of marijuana, it will actually push your brain into overdrive and overthink everything. Which causes anxiety. Anytime you overthink causes anxiety for the most part. So if you use the right type of cannabis, then it should slow your brain process down and make you want to chill and watch movies and eat a bunch of food.
And are you could I get the right type of cannabis from somebody like you, or because
I only have the right type of cannabis.
Okay,
I'm not interested in having anxiety attacks. So.
Yeah, because the person that when you just buy, you don't know really what you're.
Especially on the black market, right?
So
it's like, hey, give me this strand. They're like, what do you mean? I got this, or this. Take your pick. If you're lucky, you're getting weed, right?
Yeah.
In a legalized setting, especially on the West Coast where it's very matured, you can get very granular as to what you're looking for.
Okay.
And it's everything. So I prefer actually eating it versus.
Oh,
I
really?
smoke it too, but my preferred method is eating it. So edibles.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. See, I've had some bad experiences.
Well, yeah, it's like if you take too much anything, right?
Yeah.
And oils and stuff.
So I just use gummies, but they have the oils in them.
Okay.
And now I'm really starting to mess around with specific cannabinoids and what helps me sleep more. Like, I have tinctures of a cannabinoid called CBN.
Okay.
Most people haven't heard of it. Most people only heard of THC and CBD, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
CBN is another cannabinoid. There's over 150 in the plant. So
Oh, really? Okay.
THC is one, CBD is another, and so there's 150 plus more than that. Mm-hmm. So CBN is one, and I call it liquid Xanax, but it makes you definitely makes you not worry about anything.
That's solid.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I take that at night, stops all your brain function as far as because the problem is when you lay in bed and your brain just keeps going, right?
Yeah, that's
you
the
can't
problem
fall
I have.
asleep,
Yeah, like I'm just like a workaholic kind of.
Right,
Like
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but the weed, whatever that I've been getting, it'll turn it into overdrive,
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's not why I got
So
that.
sativa, right, is on one end of the spectrum, and sativa is what you would want
Yeah.
to smoke if you're a rapper about to record songs, if you're an artist
Okay.
about to paint a masterpiece, but not if you're a hyper energetic, overthinking human being.
Yeah.
It will make you do that times 10, right? And it'll
Yeah.
give you a panic attack. Indica, on the other hand, is the opposite. So it is very heavy hitting. It actually slows your brain function down, so you're not thinking about much at all.
Okay.
And it makes you it makes you extremely tired and hungry.
Okay, gotcha. So
Yeah.
so the what was CBN? Was that what it was?
CBN, yeah. That's
Yeah,
a cannabinoid.
that's more like an indica.
Normally you find more CBN in the indica. Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So they sometimes they follow similar characteristics and traits.
Okay.
And also the terpene profile. So the terpenes are what give it the smell and taste.
Okay.
And those play a huge factor in what kind of high you're going to have as well.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's all of these hundreds of different compounds, natural compounds of the plant that come together to give you what they call an entourage effect.
Okay.
And the entourage effect is what gives you a specific high.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So what is the actual business? Like, is it like?
So I've historically I've built large vertically integrated cannabis companies, so controlling from the seed to the shelf to the consumer.
Okay.
In multiple states, I've built profitable cannabis companies and had exits, which
Yeah.
is more than most can say.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
this point, so.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And currently, are you running
Currently,
one?
I moved here to start working on Florida.
Okay,
so Florida
gotcha.
has an extremely, I would say, appealing program to get
Okay.
involved with. It's very high barrier to entry. Takes
Yeah.
a massive amount of capital. There's
Okay.
only 22 licenses in the whole state.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
gotcha.
And it's the only license in the world where you can open unlimited dispensaries. So if you're one
Okay.
of the 22, you can open unlimited shops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
everywhere else, you can only open one shop with one license.
Okay, so here, as long as you get do you have the license here, or you're working?
I'm working on it. Yeah.
Okay,
So
because once you have it, then there's really no competition. Well, there's
there's
21
other
Yeah.
competitors.
yeah, not much competition.
Yeah,
let's
there's
say.
actually probably the most profitable cannabis company in the world right now is only in an immature medical market in Florida. So
Okay.
that gives you a kind of an insight as to what this is going to become,
Okay.
which is probably the largest regulated marijuana market in the country.
Yeah.
Because California can't get their shit together. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
So now, so it would be multiple dispensaries. That's what you would be opening up.
yeah,
here?
I think I've projected that I'll open between 50 and 100 stores by 25.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and to do that, I guess what is it all like? Where do you get the weed from? Like how does it all?
So you have to manufacture it and cultivate it and grow it. So you have to do everything
Okay.
in house.
Okay,
And
it has to be
Florida's
in house.
an interesting
Okay.
concept because normally in states you can go B2B, business to business. So if someone
Yeah.
produces a great product, you can buy it wholesale and then sell it retail to the consumer.
Okay.
Florida has a closed loop supply chain, so you can only manufacture your own products to go on your own shelf. So you can't go business to business.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
whatever you manufacture, that's what you have to sell out of your stores.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And we've been doing it for a long time in the West. So when I came out here, I was like, it's just like, I'm not knocking these guys; they're crushing it. But it
Yeah.
just was a blast from the past when I came out here. Like it reminded me of things we were doing in 2010.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, if I just get a
Oh,
top tier team out of
you've
the
already
West Coast-
seen this, or like
Yeah, I've seen the progression of how it plays out, right? So
Okay, gotcha.
It's like if someone came up to you and said, hey, what would you tell yourself at 18 years old now, knowing what you
Yeah.
know now, what advice would you give yourself at 18? That's basically what I get to do in marijuana. I get to
Yeah.
come to the East Coast and start from scratch, but I have all of the trials and tribulations of what I've done on the West Coast for
Yeah.
over a decade.
Gotcha. So and then on the ones on the West Coast, are they still like running, or you've exited from them?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'm no longer involved, but yeah, they're still
Gotcha.
operating. Dropping a lot of cash out of the bottom. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it actually a cash business, or do you accept
so
card?
in
I feel like I've heard it was. That's why.
Yeah, so the Fed won't allow big banks to take the money.
Okay.
And so you can work with state chartered banks, local credit unions, stuff like that. There's always certain players in almost every market that will take your money.
Okay.
But some people are not, I guess, sophisticated enough to find those people that will take your money, or they're in a very precarious situation where they can't get banking. So some people do have to run cash businesses, which is obviously dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, gotcha. So now in Florida, so are you in South Beach area, or like where did you?
Downtown.
Yeah, Paramount. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. And then from Florida, where do you see things like, or is Florida where you're really just focused on?
I think Florida is the crown jewel.
Okay.
Of the space in this country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if the deal's right, then it will take up the majority of my focus.
Yeah.
If I don't like the terms, then I'll probably do multiple deals. So.
Okay, gotcha. So, and you were telling me, and if you want us to take this out, you can. But I know you said you just did a book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm like in the book, you said like 50 interviews or more. That's how much it took to.
I probably did 50 plus working sessions. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So I'm curious because that would be your whole story, which I'm hoping to unfold
from
here.
Being born until today, right?
Yeah. So tell us about. Besides, you don't remember the born part, I'm sure, but from there, like.
Oh, like my early life?
Yeah. Like
so,
what? Besides the weed stuff, we'll come back to it. But I'm curious. Yeah.
My parents separated when I was 4 months old, so I was I'd say kind of a broken family to a certain extent.
They separated at 4 months.
When I was 4 months old. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So I've never really seen my parents together.
Gotcha.
They both, kind of remarried and had new families and everything.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I guess typical teenage growing up. Running wild. Partying, can't hold a job, stuff like that.
Okay.
My family kind of, I think, was thinking I was going to end up kind of being a screw up.
Yeah.
And so, I barely graduated high school. I had good grades. I think I had like a 3.5 GPA, but I never went to school.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had so many absences they didn't want to let me graduate. So I'd like.
Is that when you kind of thought like entrepreneurship was for you?
So my dad was always an entrepreneur when I was growing up. He owned art galleries.
Okay.
So he was a logger.
Cool. Yeah.
And then he started opening art galleries, and so I from like the age of 5, I kind of saw all that.
Yeah.
And he started buying me books like, first, I don't know if you guys know who Wayne Dyer is, but he's
a
self-help guru. So he would make me listen to Wayne Dyer with cassette tapes in the car when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And so I was like absorbing all of that, and it was subconsciously, I didn't know what was going on, but it obviously helped a lot. And then I think when I was 12, he bought me the book Tony Robbins' Awakening the Giant Within.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading that, and it just kind of was reprogramming my brain at a very early age.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And then he bought me Think and
Grow Rich.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yep.
And then when I graduated high school, I bought Think and Grow Rich, and that's one of my 3 like key pillar of books.
Yep.
It's Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and The Art of War.
Yeah.
Like if I could only give you 3 books, I'd give you those 3 books.
He's reading Think and Grow Rich right now for the.
I plan on reading that book over 100 times.
You've read it 10 times? Okay.
It's like my Bible, right? Like if you follow the principles in that book, you will be extremely successful.
Yes.
But it takes a lot of discipline.
Now, do you think? And the answer is definitely yes, but I'm just curious. Meaning, like, you read it 10 times. So have you gotten
not
more?
Just front to back. Like I'll go back and I'll reread things. Like I haven't picked it up in probably like 5 years, to be completely honest.
Okay.
But from I would say 20 to 30.
Yeah.
I was deep in it. Like there's so many like golden nuggets in
there. Yeah. Like did more pop out on like 2, 3, 4 times? I've only read it once.
Just like when you watch a movie, right?
Yeah. More comes out. Yeah.
Shit that like you didn't see the first time because you're so focused on trying to follow the storyline and grabbing the big golden nuggets that you miss a lot of smaller ones.
Yeah.
And so that's really going back to education. I dropped out of college on my 10th day.
Yeah.
Just because I was trying to get involved in business from an academia level, and I realized that those professors aren't really like successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be professors if they were. They'd be making tens of millions of dollars in business.
Yeah. No, that's the story. I dropped out of school 2 years in, and part of the reason was that book over there, The 4-Hour Work Week. That changed my life.
Great book.
And then, but the other thing was, I remember, and I wasn't doing this in like a way of like trying to call him out, but I had a professor. My major was entrepreneurship in college, right?
Okay.
So first day of class, because I was just curious, I asked the guy, I was just like, so can you tell us about some of the businesses that you've ran? Right. And he literally responded and said he had never run a business, but he had his master's in entrepreneurship. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
He's good at studying and taking tests.
Yeah. I was like, this is nuts.
Street smarts goes so much farther in business than any book that you're going to read. Right?
Yeah. And I just couldn't believe. I was like, I'm glad you have a master's in entrepreneurship, but I don't know what you're going to tell me,
right?
Like what you're going to teach me. And any entrepreneur would say that, like if you don't actually have experience, because the amount of failure, like there's just so much that goes into it that like if you've never gone through it,
right?
You don't know. Like you just, how could you?
That's trial by fire, and entrepreneurship is incredible. Like that's my favorite. Just and it's hard. People are like, well, how do I get started? You just got to go. Just go.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Jump.
Too.
You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like when you walk up to a big, when you're cliff jumping, right?
Yeah.
In the ocean or a lake or whatever. and people stand up there for 30 minutes, they talk themselves out of it because they think about all the things that could go wrong. I'm like, you just got to walk up there and jump. You know what I mean? That's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. You can't think about all the things that are going to go wrong. You just have to go do it and make sure you figure it out as you go.
Yeah, that is what it's like. Right. I've gone cliff jumping before, and when I wait up there
it becomes more and more.
Yeah, then I can't do it.
It becomes more and more, I don't want to do this, right? The longer you sit up there. Because your brain will start to, your brain is a survival mechanism, right? It's all about wanting you to survive, and that's why people don't like to go out of their comfort zone, because your brain doesn't want you to go out of your comfort zone. Your brain wants systematic routine because it wants to know exactly when you're going to get a paycheck, when the food's going to come, right? All the survival things, the hierarchy of needs. And so when you go out of your comfort zone, there's a lot of unknowns, and your brain doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Because your brain's whole job is to make sure that you reproduce and that you survive to carry on your genetics to the next generation. So going out of your comfort zone, there's way too many unknowns for survivability in your brain. It's like, whoa, right?
Yeah, no, that is, I've literally had to climb down before. I've been that guy. There's videos of me out there where I was
about to say, don't take him.
I'm not doing it, man. I'm just not doing it.
I just sat up there for like hours, and I was like, no, I'm going to, and they're like, dude, it's literally more dangerous to climb down this thing.
For sure.
Than it is to jump. And I was like, I don't care.
You're like, but my brain wants me to just climb down, right?
Yes.
So I get it, man, and like it's so much different comparing and contrasting, like learning how to build a company in a classroom versus doing it out in real life.
So that's what I was going to ask you next. So like it's one thing to like build a company, build and exit is like a whole nother thing in my So how have you, I guess, built these companies in that way that you're able to exit? Like what makes a company exitable?
So how I look at things is I look at the exit and the upside potential, and I've done this since I was young.
Okay.
Like for example, like after college, my family was extremely upset, right? Because most of them didn't get a college education. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. You know, you were supposed to be something better than what we were. Yeah. And so I went and became an electrician apprentice, like right away in the union, and like crushed the tests and all the interviews and stuff. And it's a pretty like I would say competitive process, and there's a lot of people trying to get in because you're guaranteed to make, you know, base 80, 90, 100,000 a year, whatever it is now. I don't know. This was 16 years ago. So I went and got into that, and my family was very happy. Like, oh my God, what a great career. Da, 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 da. And in my head, the first thing I thought of was like, how much money can I make doing this? Like, where's the ceiling? Yeah. Right. And so it's like, well, I guess I could build a huge electrical company as a contractor, you know, and maybe it becomes worth $200-300 million. I don't know. But that's how my brain works. So I start at the end and say, what's the absolute best you can do in this scenario? And then if I like what the exit would look like, then I would architect that backwards, starting from there, and then work it back to today.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So it's way more.
So I look at opportunities, and it's all about the liquidation or exit event. Like, I'm not just building something because I want to have fun. Yeah. I love building things, and I have a lot of fun, but making sure that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is equally as important.
Gotcha. Okay. Right? Yeah, because you said that before. Very analytical. That's what you said, right? Before. Yeah. So like, because I think most people they just don't think like that. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, even a lot of entrepreneurs, like they start a business, but they're not thinking about the end. They're just like, okay, I found a pain,
right, and
that I can solve.
I'm doing, you know, I'm doing a 12 million EBITDA. Now what?
Yeah.
Like, well, who's your takeout? Like, who would take you out? Who would you be a takeout target for, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I never really thought about that. I'm like, you never thought about what you're going to do with this business when it's profitable and built?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have someone in mind that was going to come and write you a big, you know, multiple on your EBITDA for this thing? Like,
yeah.
So it's mind-blowing that sometimes people just stumble onto something great, right? And they're like, I found a niche that needed to be addressed by an entrepreneur, and I addressed it, and here we are. Yeah. Right? But they never, ever in a million years thought it would end up becoming what it was. Yeah. Like to that size or stature.
So what are all the things that you like look? So EBITDA is what you were saying there, and it's funny. So my dad's an accountant, so I don't even know a lot of these things. It's really interesting, and that's why I'm asking these questions. Is like I stumbled across this book stuff when I was 20 and I dropped out. Right. I wrote a book. It hit bestseller.
Oh wow!
And but it was right after I dropped out of school. Right. So all these people thought, similar to your story, it seems like I was going down a bad path.
Right, of course.
And then I'm from a small town in Philadelphia, an hour north of Philly, and everybody was like, he's a freaking best-selling author, and he's like 20 years old. This makes no sense. And then I helped a few people for free, and they got the same result. And then I figured out the entire, you know, there's some things I don't know, but I know the industry very well. and I just fell into it. But I honestly have not thought about like an exit, and I've been running it for 9 years, and we do well. But I haven't.
Who would buy you, right?
Yeah.
And there's probably some big publishing houses that would. I don't know how it works, but I assume they would buy you.
Yeah. No, I think so. It's just I don't know if I've built it in a way. Or I think so. Like it's very systematized, but you know what I mean. Like what is buyable? Like I'm not sure.
And in that vertical, I couldn't give you a specific answer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I don't know how to structure a publishing company or
for sure,
marketing company or whatever it may be.
But for for the dispensaries, that was something you built in a way where obviously there's people that work at them, and then you just kind of turned over to a bigger company, and they were like, yes, we'll just acquire you.
Well, either that or you find like a very wealthy family or a syndicate.
Like a family office or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So
yeah.
I've had a family office buy me out of a project.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I had a Wall Street guy do it with another project.
Yeah.
So it's either people that are looking for their next play, or people looking to diversify their portfolio, or if they're a company in the same vertical as you that's looking to expand or looking to increase their footprint or go into a new territory that you're already occupying.
Yeah.
See, the big boys, they don't like to do the early heavy lifting with all the guesswork. That's for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But when you build something special and they want to start doing a consolidation,
which
will happen in relatively soon in cannabis in America.
Yeah.
You just want to be an attractive takeout target for them. So, when Philip Morris and Anheuser-Busch and all the other 800-pound gorillas get in, which they will, including pharma, so Pfizer, you just want to be the prettiest girl at the prom, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah. Any thoughts on, because I just saw weed stocks, there's some companies that have just skyrocketed because the Oregon thing. I think it was because of that.
With the decriminalization of all drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually a lot of it had to do with the Biden.
Really?
Biden winning the presidency, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha, yeah.
Because conservatives historically don't like change.
Yeah.
Cannabis is a progressive change.
Yeah.
And so it's the liberals, they get it's top 3 biggest points for liberals is cannabis is one of them. I think it's universal health care, probably student debt, and cannabis.
Okay, gotcha.
And so this is one of their top 3 biggest things that they're on right now.
Okay.
But so if Trump won, there wouldn't be any change, right? He's not going to push any cannabis bills. But most people don't understand how politics work.
Yeah.
And so if the Senate stays conservative, nothing's getting through anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I have heard
right?
this
so
recently, yeah.
I don't know if you saw the other day in the news, late last week, they're like, the House passes historic cannabis bill. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
The Senate won't touch it. So,
yep.
Right? So what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
But most people don't understand how that works, so they're like, oh, Biden won the president. Marijuana's about to become legal. Marijuana's not becoming legal for a long time if they don't take the Senate. So now if the liberals win the 2 seats in Georgia, then it would be a Democratic controlled Senate.
Yeah.
They would legalize cannabis as fast as we could snap our finger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Let's talk about this now. So what's your take on all this then?
I don't want it to go legal right now.
Oh, you don't?
No,
okay.
Not at all.
Gotcha.
I want it to stay exactly how it is for at least another 5 years. But the longer it stays like this, the longer it keeps the 800-pound gorillas out of the ring with you. So I can compete at this level all day long. But when the multi-billion-dollar players come in, like big alcohol, tobacco, pharma, then it's extremely hard to compete with someone that has unlimited capital.
Okay.
So you want to be the prettiest girl at the prom, like I told you.
Yeah.
When they open up those floodgates, you want to be sitting here with a massive company that's extremely profitable.
Okay.
And you'll have a crazy exit like you probably didn't think.
So your reason for the 5 years is meaning like you want
I need
these
5 more years
to build something.
What I want to be taken out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The longer they let me go, the bigger it'll get, but I need 5. So,
okay, gotcha.
And if the Senate stays conservative, which I believe it will, then you're really, I believe at the 24 presidential election, there will be so much public push for legalization. I bet you will be, right now, America, it's over 90% approval to legalize medical cannabis.
Yeah.
And I think it's like in the 62 arena for legalizing recreational cannabis.
Okay.
I believe it'll be like 80% in 24, right? Because what's happening is more and more states are going legal, and then people are realizing, oh, marijuana's not bad. It's not as bad as the government told us. It's not. There's not drive-by shootings everywhere. Like actually crime's going down because people are drinking less when they're using cannabis, and there's no domestic abuse because people are not violent when they're high.
Yeah.
Right. Alcohol is like the real problem, if you ask me.
I agree.
Yeah. Alcohol is the most dangerous drug in my opinion.
Yeah.
And there's really no medical upside or anything to it, right? It's just straight poison.
Yeah.
Even though I still, indulge in it.
From time to time.
For the fun. Yeah. Maybe once a month or once every couple months, but. It's I don't know. I think that both presidential candidates will have to run on some sort of premise of legalization in 24 because the public persona will be so high for legalization that they'll have no choice.
Yeah.
Conservative or Democrat.
Yeah.
And then, so I believe then when they came into term, it would take a little bit of time for them to pass a bill to get it legalized, and then once the bill passes to legalize, then it would take 12 to 18 months after that to actually implement and put all the systems in place.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when you really want to exit, is when they announce legalization, in between when they announce legalization and when they implement. That'll be the highest valuations for cannabis companies in the world ever.
Okay, gotcha.
It'll be like the .com companies in '99.
Yeah,
Same concept.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It's I actually, one of my friends, he I think it was in 1999, I don't know, but he bought liquor.com and wine. He had wine.com and then he sold it for multiple.
Smart. I remember
Yeah.
seeing a guy, he owned binoculars.com doing pretty good revenue. He sold for like $30 million bucks. I'm like,
30 million? Holy shit.
Oh my god.
For binoculars.com?
I was like in middle school, so I didn't get to get involved, but it would have been a good time.
Oh yeah.
But that's that's getting back to it. That's what a lot of the reason why I got involved in cannabis. I got to read the books, right? And then I became an electrician apprentice, which was brutal. I mean, I remember working one winter out in Yellowstone Park.
Yeah.
-40, and like working outside -40. I was like, so I did that for about 18 months. It was a very toxic, cancerous environment. Construction workers are very, very negative.
Yeah.
So they all kind of they feed off each other's negativity.
Yeah.
How little of work can we do to keep our jobs and screw the boss, the owner, right? It gets crazy.
Yeah.
And so after about a year and a half, I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I went and resigned. Everyone was obviously very upset because I had like a great career path, right?
Yeah.
And my father again came and he got me for my birthday, I think the year before or something, he got me the class to go get my real estate license.
Okay.
So I went and got that, and I was like, I'm going to become a realtor. And they're like, oh my God, you're using that as an excuse, for a career. What a joke, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I went and did that, became a realtor when I was 20. I had never worn a suit or anything, so I didn't really know what that was like. So I'm wearing suits that were like 3 times too big for me. No idea what was going on. And like, I don't know how much you know about being a realtor, but like, it's really your own business, right? You hang your license under a broker, but really you're running your own little business.
Mm-hmm.
And it really showed me how to run a business. So I didn't have any money. My family didn't have any money. So I went and applied for like 50, 60 credit cards simultaneously because they can't cross-check that, right? I got approved for like half of them. And so that's how I lived while I was trying to build my real estate company, was those credit cards.
No way.
Yeah, and I didn't sell a property for 6 months, and I could see why. I mean, I probably looked like I was 10. I
3X.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell my house with me either.
Yeah.
And so I had like $4 left in my checking, and I was maxed on the credit cards, like 3 months behind on all my payments. I'm like, I'd moved back into my mother's like dungeon basement, and I'm like, I'm doomed. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
I was 20. Yeah, I was still 20, and then I finally sold a house. And I got like a $5,800 commission or something. And I was like, I'm rich.
Yeah.
And so that was like what I needed to fuel the fire. And from there, I just started cranking them out of the park. And I created like this little system in real estate to where I would go talk to landowners with big parcels of land. And then I made friends with the real estate developers. And then I'd sell them the big parcels of land. And they would chop it up into 100 lots. And then I made friends with the builders. And then I would sell the lots to the builders, and they would build spec houses, and then I would sell the spec houses to just normal people.
Yeah.
And so I had like this machine going. And then when people wanted to sell their new house they bought, they'd call me back. And so I really didn't have to do any more. Early on, I did a lot of cold calling, a lot of cold knocking on doors, stuff like that. But after I got the machine built, then I didn't have to really. My phone was ringing, not vice versa.
Yeah.
And then, so I was crushing it through like 21, 22, 23 in real estate. I bought like a big house in Mansion Heights in Montana when I was on my 22nd birthday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And then 2008 rolled around when I was 23, and I basically lost everything.
Oh yeah, that's the common story.
Yeah.
With 2008.
I was overextended, young, arrogant. Thought I was bulletproof, and I wasn't planning on that, and that's really where I was like, because I remember seeing all these like schmucks making so much money in mortgages, like, because if you had a pulse, right, you could get a loan, like it didn't matter, nothing else mattered. These guys are making 50, 75, 100,000 a month, and I'm just like, these guys are not smart enough to be doing this.
Yeah.
So I looked at the tech bubble, and I looked at subprimes. I'm like, there's always another big thing, and I had some buddies, some best friends that went to Iraq in 2004 when we graduated high school, and came back and they had severe PTSD. Mm-hmm. And the VA put them on. I mean, like, you know, they ended up in straitjackets and stuff in the VA hospitals, and the VA puts you on a bunch of pharmaceuticals, like a bunch of pills, and basically vegetabilizes you so you can't harm yourself or others. And so I knew, like, if they just continued down that path, they wouldn't probably make it. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, as a Hail Mary, we ended up getting them a cannabis medical card, and they started using marijuana. And they basically got off all the pharmaceuticals, and they started living normal lives and didn't have all the, you know, crazy PTSD, relapses and issues and stuff. So that's really when I was like, wow, there must be like more to this plant than, you know, just a bunch of hippies out there smoking dope. Yeah. And so that's when I started to take a much harder look at it. I was like, I think this might be like the future, like the next big thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, when I told my family about that one, they were not happy. They're like, you want to be a drug dealer?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it. You don't get it. Like, you don't see what I see. Mm-hmm. And so I went on my merry way and went and got my medical card and tried my hand at growing pot.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious, 2008, and then I want to get back to like did you start building it in LA or Arizona?
Montana.
Oh, that's where the weed started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then it brought me to crazy places. But
okay, any Colorado? Or no?
Never in Colorado.
Oh, never?
No.
Okay. Just why not? Just
saturated.
Saturated.
They didn't
okay.
set their program up right.
Oh, really? Oh, see this? Yeah, that's why. Because I know some people that have started stuff up there, but when you say they didn't set it up right, what do you mean? Like what?
Gave out way too many licenses.
Okay.
They didn't regulate it properly in my mind. Like they were the trailblazer, right?
Yeah.
So everyone behind them got to look at their mishaps and then not do that.
Got
so them in Oregon and Washington were really like the trailblazers on legalization.
Yeah.
And if you look at those three programs, they're destroyed. Mm-hmm. Those are my three least favorite cannabis programs in the country.
Oh wow. Okay.
And as they keep rolling out more programs, they keep getting better and better on how to do it.
That makes sense.
I think I don't even know after this last election, but it's probably like 40 states. I would say probably somewhere in that 38 to 40 now have some sort of marijuana program.
Okay.
Because you had like some new states come online. It might be 37. Mm-hmm. But there's still some holding out, like Texas and Idaho and some of the real conservative places.
Yeah.
But, you want to stay away from really saturated markets. Like there's probably 1,600 operators in Colorado.
Okay.
So if you look at Colorado's
Colorado's
population is probably 6.5 million.
Okay.
Why would I compete against 1,600 people when I could go to a state like Florida, who has 22 to 30 million people depending on the season, and 130 million plus tourists a year, and there's only 22 competitors. So
that's easy.
You tell me where you want to play.
Yeah.
I can be here and do the same amount of effort I do in Colorado and get 50 times the result. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all about building the right foundation for the house to be built on.
But so to get the license here, though, it's probably much harder. So, but you seem very certain though that you're going to get it. So like,
well, you got to buy it.
Oh, is
all 22 have been given out, right?
Oh, okay.
And these
I thought it was
are
like
so valuable that they've been trading hands at crazy valuations. So
okay.
I would say historically the licenses have traded in the 55 to 85 million range for the piece of paper.
Really? No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So what? You're bringing together like some investors and stuff?
Yeah. I've raised about 250 million in the cannabis space. So.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And that's
about how much this project's going to take too.
Yeah. But it's worth it because.
Yeah, I mean, you can build, like Truly, for example, who's leading the pack here right now.
Yeah.
They're trading. They're publicly traded. I think they're trading at like 2.8 billion right now.
Okay. Yeah, so that's worth 250 million.
Yeah. Anytime you can get a 10x on your money, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting. Okay. Yeah. But it is solely just like something you purchase. Like you really
there's really no other way to get it because early on you would have had to be in the application process, but there was like some very specifics in that application process. Like you had to be a farmer in Florida for the last 30 years to even apply.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a very select group of individuals that were allowed to apply.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
they gave out 22 of these things, which are like generational wealth lottery ticket, right?
Oh yeah.
And you know, like I've seen some young kids that got a couple of them and then flipped them for like 40, 50, 60 million bucks.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love books, but this business seems a little better.
You know,
awesome.
I feel like I get kind of bored with like mundane things or like things that happen on a regular basis, and cannabis is like it's always changing so fast that it's impossible to get bored.
Yeah. So, and then we'll come back to, I'm just curious though, 2008, like just from an experience set, like what was it like being like in that? Like, was it just crazy? Meaning like from seeing, like you said, you kind of saw behind the scenes, like you knew something was weird. Even at such a young age too, which is fascinating.
Like as that economic cycle.
Yeah, like when it crashed.
Well, that's when I really started to understand economic cycles, and timing is everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So you like, I think we're gonna have another huge correction next year because I think the economy is artificially propped up by the government right now. Yeah. Just because you can't be hitting all-time highs in the stock market when you have 16% unemployment, and you just took 30% off your GDP this year. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen unless the Fed's pumping billions into the market. Okay, so you think next year? Yeah, I think the Fed gives BlackRock and Goldman and a bunch of other guys billions of dollars to deploy in the market.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's why you see things like Tesla do what they do.
Yeah. I actually just saw an article about them recently where they said that it seems it's very inflated.
I'm a data guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
And I look at the dots on the board, and if I can't connect the dots, there's something wrong.
Okay, so what's going on with that?
Like,
you think
all right, so the stock market is symbolizing that we have the strongest economy we've ever had because it's hitting all-time highs. Yeah. This is probably the weakest economy we've had since the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. So how does that work?
Yeah, it doesn't. So.
Doesn't add up.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so for like politically, I'm just. Yeah. Do you kind of like because Democrats they want to. More legalized weed. So is that because it would, even though you want it in 5 years, that's
so weed's gonna get legalized. Weed's gonna get legalized no matter what.
No matter what.
It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. Okay. I've been saying that since 2008, and people thought I was psychotic, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, this, you're gonna get arrested. Yeah. It's new. It's innovative. It's progressive. It fits right into the Democratic profile, right? They like change. They like progressive things, and they want freedom of do whatever you want. Yeah, like a free for all. Mm-hmm. I fall more on the side of independent myself. Yeah, because I think politics are ridiculous. And,
tell me more about why do you say that?
So like my business fundamentals obviously fall on the side of conservative.
Yeah,
eat what you kill. Work your butt off and you can have anything you want, right? That's why this is the greatest country in the world. Yeah. As far as like personal beliefs, probably more on the side of Democratic. As far as like, if you want to put something in your body, be my guest. As long as you're not hurting other people, like do whatever you want.
I agree with that.
Set up clean drug houses if that's what they want to do. Yeah. And I as long as like the kid's not too like developed as far as abortions, it should be the mother's choice. If there's a 16-year-old girl that is 3 months pregnant, she should have the choice to have an abortion, in my opinion, because that could be a horrible life for the child and for the mother, right? So but as far as like having abortions 2 days before a birth or something, I can't get behind that. So I'm just like a middle of the road guy. Like we should do we should make the decision that's best for the bulk of the majority of the American population. Yeah. Not about playing these funny games or lining my pockets with taxpayers' money like most politicians do anyway. Yeah, for sure. So with a lot of our listeners, they're nonfiction authors and they want to like grow. Usually the book there's a business on the back end of it. Right. So on social media, on Instagram at least, you do really well on there. Like I think it's 700,000 followers. So how did you build that? Like what do you think was the I thought Instagram was ridiculous when I first saw it, and I took it as a joke when I first started using it. I don't remember when I did my first post, probably like 2015, 13, I don't know, somewhere there. And then when people started seeing these big cannabis companies that are building, they were like, you should really start publicizing what you do. Like it's very unique, and I don't think a lot of people get to see the behind the scenes of this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I like to keep to myself and just work, and I'm not one to broadcast what I'm doing. I was always one to keep my head down and just build. Okay. And just stay focused versus getting pulled off track. But I started posting all the weed stuff, and my following started blowing up, and more people started following me and engaging with my social media. And then I started hanging out with this guy named Burner, He's a very well-known guy in marijuana now. He's a rapper. He's like best friends with Wiz Khalifa.
Do you know him?
Yeah.
Burner?
You know that song 21 Joints?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that
Burner
song.
and I,
That's
like,
sick.
Burner and I,
Okay.
like,
I do know.
I would say he's a close friend.
Okay, cool.
And so we kind of grew up in the space together. He started as a door guy at a marijuana shop.
Yeah.
And now he is the face of like the most well-known marijuana brand in the country, Cookies.
Okay.
And so I started hanging out with him, and that got me more exposure, obviously. And then Wiz started coming around. We did like Khalifa Kush for Wiz, and
okay.
that got me a lot more, eyeballs as well.
For sure.
And then I think that probably got me up to like, I don't know, 100-some thousand followers.
Yeah.
And I started running around with Dan Bilzerian, and then it just blew up.
Oh yeah, that could help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get? Oh well, because he's CBD at least. I know he does.
It was
Is that,
weed though. I created Ignite for him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so we were running around for a few years together.
Oh yeah, well that sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right, tell us some of those stories. I want to hear some. What's some a few?
It's crazy.
Sure, there's thousands.
Yeah,
but.
I think when we did the Ignite launch party.
Yeah.
It was at a house in Bel Air.
Okay.
Like 44,000 square feet house or something.
Oh wow, that is tiny.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
That's the house he leased out for himself. When he was out there. The first party we threw, I think, because you had to sign in on an iPad, like sign a waiver when you were walking in.
Yeah.
And so I think the count was like 800 and some girls and like 80 guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 10-to-1 ratio.
Oh, yeah. Good odds.
Which
I
made
like
it not
those
even
odds.
fun. Like it was not enjoyable.
Really?
Yeah, you get pulled like in 25 directions like a piece of meat. So it was actually overwhelming.
That's so interesting.
And, like, there was chock full of celebs in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of pro athletes, musicians, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the airplane rides were pretty good.
Oh yeah, but you have to sign stuff. So are you able to share
I mean,
some
I
of
didn't
the stuff?
sign anything ever.
Oh, okay.
No, we were partners.
Yeah. But
I mean, crazy stuff like we'd fly to Whistler and go like snowmobiling out in the backcountry, or
yeah.
He's got like this $1 million off-road truck, so we'd like take girls off-roading in the desert, going like 130 miles an hour through the desert in the middle of the night.
That's awesome.
Shoot machine guns, like whatever.
Yeah. Basically, what his Instagram.
I mean,
looks
that's
like.
There's a lot of downtime, right? Like what you see is like the highlights.
For sure,
but,
yeah.
And there's a lot of just time to chill, like talking about in-depth things.
Mm-hmm.
He's a methodical, like deep thinker.
Yeah.
Which most people wouldn't believe. Like he comes off as like kind of a redneck hillbilly when you talk to him, but he's actually very intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were like brothers. We were, inseparable for a while.
Yeah.
We did a lot of crazy shit. I did a lot of shit I probably wouldn't have got to experience if we weren't friends.
Yeah.
Like I'm not having parties in $150 million houses by myself. So.
No. So where is that at? And I'm just curious, like, so you helped build the back end of it. Obviously, I guess he's the face
but
of
it was it was a challenging environment to build a big enterprise with.
Okay.
Between like the inner workings of him. Family was challenging. I was kind of in the middle, and then like having a bunch of really attractive girls around all the time is hard to stay focused.
Okay.
So I helped him with that for about a year.
Yeah.
And then I just threw up my hands and kind of said I can't do this anymore. And we kind of went our separate ways.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a little bit of a fallout, but
okay.
I don't know. We might reconnect one day. Who knows?
Okay. No, that's fine.
I don't have any ill will or anything. I wish him well.
Yeah. No, for sure. So where, I guess overall, right now, you're going after Florida, obviously, but like, what's the overall goal? Like,
I mean, Florida's large enough of an opportunity where I could just build in Florida and exit and be fine.
Yeah.
Be happy with that.
Okay.
But I'm never one to sit still, so I can only imagine what it turns into.
Okay.
I mean, it could end up becoming one of the largest cannabis companies again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably had the largest cannabis company in 2017 in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which one was the
Reef Dispensaries?
Reef Dispensaries.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
built that from scratch, starting in beginning of 14.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's really when shit got crazy. That's when Burner came. We started hanging out all the time. Then Wiz came.
Yeah.
And just had like the busiest dispensary in the world in 17. In Vegas. So I was living in Vegas. And it was just everything turned into like hyper speed, and the exponential effect of like the snowball was incredible. Like I got named number 140 under 40 in marijuana in 2016. 18, I was named one of the most influential people in marijuana by High Times.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Now I'm older and wiser, and
yeah,
I'm not really as polarized and intrigued by all that nonsense like I was before.
Yeah.
Like growing up in Montana, Hollywood romanticizes that whole lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in my head, I'm like I was obsessed with the show called Entourage back in the
Oh
day.
yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. It's still my favorite show of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it a lot, and so that living in a very simple life in Montana, watching that show, you're like, that's where I should be, right? Like that's the epitome of a perfect life. And so after I exited Reef at the end of 17, I actually moved to the penthouse in the W, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of scenes were shot at the W in Hollywood in Entourage.
Yeah.
So I just went and got the penthouse there, and I was like, I'm gonna go do this now.
Yeah.
And I didn't like LA at all. The people are toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about clout and who you are and who you know. And I was like, how do all these people party every night? Partying is expensive, and I don't even know what they do for a living.
Yeah.
A lot of them rob, steal, or cheat or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like there's a lot of honest, hardworking people out there that I could find.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was just going to say, though. Is it seems to me, and leads into the next question, that you really like the actual doing. Like, you like the work.
Oh, I'm a grinder.
You're not in it for the flashy stuff. That's,
I like when I was a little kid, me and my grandma would build Lego cities for like days on end, right? Like I like building things.
Mm-hmm.
And I like looking back and being able to look at like something large that I built.
Yeah.
I'm still building Lego things, but just in real life.
Exactly.
Nothing changed. I'm just building things of like to instill a legacy.
Yeah. Like it doesn't seem, and that's why when you actually said the W thing, I was like, I bet he didn't like that. I don't know.
I'm like, you know what? I don't really like it here. Maybe it's a W. Maybe it's I don't like living here. So then I went and got a 5,000-foot house in West Hollywood, and I got robbed there and all this other stuff. So,
really? You got robbed? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, they took all my jewelry and $500,000 cash.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Do you know who it was, or is it?
No, I was stupid and naive, and growing up in Montana, you're raised to trust people, so I'm overly trusting.
Okay.
Because there's not really a lot of bad characters out there.
Yeah.
Like, there's not malicious people out there that want to hurt you or what you're doing. Yeah. And so I just was having parties all the time and hundreds of people through the house, and I'm sure I had the wrong people through, and they were like, we got to come back and take care of this.
Yeah. Oh,
so me and Dan actually, he was like, let's go, bro. Like, I'm warming up the jet. Let's fly to New York. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I meet him at the airport, Van Nuys. And, of course, like an idiot, I post on my Instagram something about him and I going to New York. And I think like 150,000 people saw my story. So they're like, yo, I'm sure like, yo, guess who's out of town?
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, they hit my house. And like 4 masked guys with like, they were pros for sure. They had matching jumpsuits on.
Yeah.
Because I saw them on my cameras, right?
Okay.
But they're like, they even had like rubber bands and gloves, so like no even like DNA was getting out. So they had like ski masks on with hoods over the ski masks because they swabbed the house for DNA.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and so I hired 2 private investigators and I had 2 LAPD detectives on it. And
yeah.
Someone had a good Christmas.
Okay. Oh, so they did not get caught.
Never.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And honestly, the detectives were kind of like not interested. They're like, bro, we're dealing with like rapes and murders and stuff. Like, we'll try, but just to be completely honest with you, this isn't like extremely high on the totem pole.
Yeah.
And that's when I hired the private investigators, because I'm like, I need someone working for me, like, in my best interest. But you live and you learn, and I don't keep cash around anymore.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, you just never know what's gonna happen, right? Like, what if this country erupts in civil war and I need to grab a backpack with $1 million in it and a couple of guns, and go to the Caribbean? It's like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, I just like to have I call it like an insurance policy, like at the oh shit.
Yeah.
And I learned my lesson, so.
Yeah. So with that, so what happens? You just lose all that, or is there any like?
No. Well, I mean, what's like?
I guess.
What am I gonna like? I can tell the insurance company I had any amount of money, and how do you prove that?
Oh, okay.
The insurance company gave me, and so there's jewelry and money.
Yeah,
which
I would.
2 hardest things to replace.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like probably $750K and stuff, I mean, so they get the insurance company gave me $500.
You seem at peace with it now, though. I'll say that, which is cool.
Yeah, it was 2.5 years ago, right?
Yeah, no.
You live and you learn.
So,
but I was pretty upset for a while.
Yeah, okay.
I think I drank like for a month straight.
Okay, that's.
And me and my buddy were getting drunk a lot.
Yeah.
But
I want to hear some stories in that month then too.
I don't remember much about that.
Okay.
But I was depressed, and not because of the money. Well, I was pissed about the money and the jewelry, but I was more pissed about I felt invaded. Like I felt like someone invaded my privacy, like I got raped or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I worked so hard for that, right? It took me so long to make that amount of money, and they took it in like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Without any remorse.
Yeah.
And so it was more about the act of doing it that really infuriated me, more so than losing the materialistic value.
Yeah.
Because I can always make more money, you know. And
Definitely.
I've been extremely broke before, and I'm not scared to be broke again. Like, I'll still be fine. So it was more about like, you know, losing my my robbery virginity, I guess.
Gotcha. Well, it was a big one. So.
Yeah, it was a good hit.
Yeah, they got you. From one of the last questions I want to ask you, from an experience side, like, you know, it seemed with Dan and some other things, like, what are some of the like craziest experiences? Not just like girls and stuff like, but more like traveling and just like some of the things you've been able to.
I mean, like, I spent like a month in Mexico City. That was crazy. Like, it's the most dangerous city in the world. Or no, it's the second. Tijuana's the most dangerous. The three most dangerous
I've been to
cities
Tijuana once. Yeah,
Tijuana's a trip, right? But I don't know. It just traveling to other countries, you really get a sense of how lucky we are in America.
Yeah.
And even the lowest level of poverty in America is like almost living better than like the lower middle class of third world countries.
Yeah.
And so when people are out in the streets that I'm watching this year, which is crazy, saying, you know, F this country and screw the police and all this stuff, I'm like, you guys have probably never even left your town. You know what I mean? Yeah. Go around the world. There's not even with the way America sits right now, there's not a better country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so you should go like fulfill yourself with experience before you start diarrheaing out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm telling you, like, with all the government programs and stuff we have, everyone lives here so much better than other countries. Like, Mexico City, like, half the population doesn't have running water. You know what I mean? Like, they have these big catch basins on the top of their hut.
Yeah.
Where they cook under coals, and they're trying to catch rain to drink and to, like, scrub themselves off.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, and they're over here trying to destroy this country. It's just, like, mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. I mean,
those experiences, I've gotten to, you know, meet a ton of billionaires, very powerful people that I probably wouldn't have been able to meet otherwise.
Yeah,
just a ton of doors open to where I've had an opportunity to see like the most poverty-stricken like places, and I've been part of that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the complete most upper echelon of America as well. So I've just seen, I have a unique stance to where I've seen everything along the economic value chain of our population.
Any like common traits you've noticed with the billionaires? Just
the higher up the economic ladder you go, the shittier people get.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most people don't get to the top because they're good people.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, like coming from I would say the lower class in Montana, it's just like everyone's such nice, good people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so like I walk into a gas station in Montana and the girl's like, "Hey, how are you today?" I'm like, "What's her deal?" They're like, "She's just happy to be at work." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like in LA, you go in the gas station, like, "What do you want? What are you doing here?" Right? It's just like it's contrasting of just how people look at things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I lost a lot of faith in humanity as I climbed up the economic ladder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you just realized, like with the billionaires, like you said, like most of them got there by doing maybe some things.
Yeah, I think, you know, and you know what?
Yeah.
I've met a handful of billionaires that are the sweetest people in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
But I would say, you know, 9 times out of 10 they're tyrants, right?
Yeah.
Narcissists, sociopath, like they all have a lot of common traits.
Okay.
Not all, but some. Because a lot of those traits play hand in hand. Manipulation, right, to get to the top.
Yeah.
So there's so many games being played the higher up you go.
Yeah.
And the things people will do for big amounts of money are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like someone will kill you for 10 grand, but what will they do for 100 million, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, so it's just, I don't know. I was raised in a place where people were good and they tried to do right. And then I got into the upper echelons of LA and New York. And I just saw the other side of human beings. And so, you know, people close to me are like, "You seem so cold." And I'm like, "I'm not cold. I see the world for what it is. Like you haven't seen down here and up here."
Yeah.
Because most people never see that. They normally stay in their lane.
Definitely, yeah.
And so I had the opportunity to claw myself out of the gutter to the top, and so I got to see it all.
Yeah.
And it's just sad to see how, you know, how some people think and treat other people.
Yeah, I agreed. And we don't have to get too deep into it, but I'm just curious, like, what do you, because these are very powerful billionaire people, right? Like, what do you think of what's going on right now with COVID, everything going, like, do you have any thoughts or perspective on it?
First of all, I was a little bit polarized by the fact that a lot of billionaires and extremely powerful people were on the side of the liberal train, right? Like a lot of hedge fund guys and the George Soroses of the world.
Yep.
I'm like, why would these people be all for equal rights and everyone's equal and everyone has the same amount of everything? But really, I realize it's not about that. In my opinion, and this is obviously an opinion, I think what's going on is they're trying to destroy the middle class.
Yeah.
That's why they're making mom and pop shops close, but Walmart's open shoulder to shoulder. Costco's open shoulder to shoulder. Like, if you're a big corporate guy, you're fine. But if you're a mom and pop, you can't be open. Now, you tell me where we're going to spread more COVID, in a Walmart or in a mom and pop shop where there might be 3 people in the store. You know what I mean? So how does that make any rational common sense at all?
Yeah, it doesn't to me.
But if they can eradicate the middle class and push all these people into poverty, now these people are relying upon the government.
Yep.
Right? And if they're relying upon the government has astounding amount of power. And it's cemented itself because now these people are feeding off the government, so it's not going anywhere. And they have to continue to vote for the people who are going to feed them or they're going to starve. So it's like basically it's a game of lock. And once they have the middle class, because the middle class is the separator between a free country and being socialist or communist. But if they can eradicate the middle class, then there's going to be such a massive lower class and the wealth disparity will be so great that they're going to have so many people on it that they're golden. The billionaires now, the reason they're on side for this, in my opinion, is because they're the upper echelon, they're the elites. So if they can cement this new program in place, it's going to be 500 times harder for a kid like me to claw my way to the top. Almost impossible, like Europe.
Yeah.
So as long as they're up at the top now and they solidify this new ecosystem, there's no version of them going down here, or their kids, or their grandkids, or their 17 generations later. They're going to stay up as a sir or a lord or whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah.
Just like Europe. So that's why all these powerful people are on that side and pushing.
Yeah.
And they have Hollywood with them, and they have the media with them, and they have social media with them, and they've done a great job of ring fencing everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think.
So that's what I think's going on.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because if you came to me and said, Matt, there's a disease that's spreading like wildfire, its death rate is 35%. You have a 1 in 3 chance of dying if you get it. I'll be like, I'll be at my house.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. But when I look at, I'm very observant, so I just look at different things and then I put it all together in my head and I architect things and then I make decisions based upon that.
Yeah.
And when I see politicians making a mockery of their own rules, they wouldn't do that if this was serious. They'd be the most scared ones because they're getting inside information that we're not even getting. But when I see Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, with 30 of his buddies up in Napa, eating $500 a plate dinners, and they didn't even show up to the restaurant in masks, and I don't know if you've seen the picture.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And they're all laughing and having fun, and it's a big joke. If this was really that serious, there's no version of them doing that. And then you got the mayor from wherever, was that Texas? He just flew to Mexico. He told everyone to stay home for the holidays, and then he flies his ass to Mexico to party and have fun.
Yeah.
If this was really that serious, they wouldn't be going anywhere. They wouldn't be doing anything.
Yes.
And it's just like, I think that if you look around, Americans have had it. Like, people are starting to get restless, and they're starting to get fed up with the BS.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing business owners push back. Like, if I'm a business owner and that's my livelihood, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not closing my business. The government told me I have to. The government told us marijuana was the devil for a century. That's a perfect example of how well the government cares about your well-being. They don't. Let's look at the Indians if you want to see how well the government takes care of people. The Indians have suffered times 500, right?
Yeah.
And so, and not to mention, the government's a very inefficient machine to manage things, anything. Because I just watched this program where they built a private bathroom for a park, and then the government built the bathroom.
Yeah.
The private bathroom was 10 times nicer, and it cost $250,000 and got built in 120 days. The government bathroom cost $3.5 million. It's a piece of shit, and it took 3.5 years to get done. Because there's so many people's hands in there grabbing cash to enrich themselves that the project never efficiently gets done like it would with an entrepreneur.
So what do you think? I completely agree with you, and I always think that's interesting where pretty much everything.
And the more the government overreaches and keeps getting its hands in everything, the worse it's going to get.
I agree.
Look at Venezuela. Venezuela was a democratic union before it became socialistic. And it was the most wealthy country in South America. This idiot who's their dictator now destroyed everything, took, capitalism away, which everyone thinks is evil, but I think it creates very strong countries and innovation.
Yep.
Venezuela, I don't know if you see anything about Venezuela.
He's actually from Venezuela.
How bad is it?
Yeah.
Not pretty. It's really bad.
Yeah. People will kill you for a hamburger, right? Like people are starving to death. And it was thriving. It had so much oil and everything else. It was the most booming economy, and the rest of South America looked up to it.
Yeah.
They switched from what we have today to socialism, and now people can't eat. Like, he'll attest to it. So let me, radical left liberals. You want that? Is that what you want? Like, that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Let's centralize. Let's centralize higher education. Let's centralize healthcare. Let's centralize everything. Just have the government take everything. Then what's my incentive to create innovation and to create hundreds and thousands of jobs?
Yeah.
Why am I going to work 10 times harder than this guy when we end up getting the same government check every month? I'm not. I'm going to lead the country.
Yeah.
And so is every innovative, extremely intelligent entrepreneur. They're going to go to a different country where they have some upside.
Definitely. So what is, like, to me it seems like whatever capitalism in the U.S., this is the best it's ever been built. But do you have, like, any ideas on, like, a better way that things could be?
All right. Well, here's what I do first of all. And it's not about...
Yeah.
Okay. I would create a flat rate tax for everyone. So no more of this bullshit. You get these write-offs. You get these corporate write-offs. You got 5 private jets, so you can write that off. No, it's a flat tax rate, whatever it ends up being. It'd probably be like 16%. Or I don't know what it was, but it'd be a flat tax rate across the board. Second, I would get rid of career politicians, so you could only run for 2 terms.
Okay.
Now, that's never going to happen because guess who votes on how many terms they can run? Them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so do you think they're ever going to take themselves out of office? No. You got to break the system.
Yep.
Those 2 things would change everything, and it would actually put the country in the black for the first time in over a century in pretty short order. I would make it illegal for politicians to participate in businesses that they're voting on, and I would make it illegal for them to go anywhere near inside trading. They all do it.
Yep.
They've actually given themselves safety blankets to protect them so they can't inside trade. They've passed laws for themselves. But the founding fathers would be spinning in their graves right now. They'd be disgusted. They didn't build this to create career politicians. They said, do 2 terms, serve for the people, and get out, and go back to your, cotton farm or whatever you have.
Yeah.
But this was never designed to be like this.
What are your thoughts on that? I was telling him this the other day. I feel like because there's so many perks of being a politician, I feel like there should be like 24. It sounds crazy, but I think there should be 24/7 surveillance.
Yeah, there should be a drone that follows you around everywhere.
Yeah.
Because these politicians are not good people.
Yeah. So it's like,
and they think we're peasants, and they think they're above us, right? So like, when they're with their hoity-toity friends, having these $40,000 dinners, they're laughing at everybody.
Yeah.
You see how many more tents are in LA this month? Like, that's the shit they think. Like, they've destroyed California. I was just in LA last week. I'm driving down, Sunset. Every business is boarded up. People are just walking with their heads down. There's tents everywhere. You've literally destroyed one of the largest economies in the world. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And now you have Elon Musk leaving, and the big podcast, Rogan.
Joe, he's in Texas.
Who else is? Goldman Sachs is leaving New York and coming here.
Yeah.
So like New York and California, either pull your head out of your ass or you're not gonna have any big players to tax. That's what's gonna happen. And once there's no one to tax, there's not any revenue to fix the state. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think New York is done too.
New York and California are toast. I mean, real estate values have gone down 30% in those 2 states since COVID started because people are flooding out. Like, I'm not dealing with this shit.
Yeah.
It's like totalitarianism.
Yeah.
Nuts.
So I'm glad that you think, because to me it's just like, look, if you're gonna have all those dinners, you're living so nice, you get to make all the. Well, then we should be able to watch you 24/7.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a good trade-off.
It is. No, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Because when there's people, literally there's people starving right now.
Yeah.
Because they have no ability to work, they're not getting any help from the government. The government's fighting over stimulus, right? And you have ladies like Nancy Pelosi. She's worth $150 million. You're not smart. How'd you make $150 million? Oh, you were inside trading and cutting backdoor deals as a politician. Weird. And then you go to, they had a little show, an interview with her, and she's sitting in her multi-million-dollar house in Marin County in the Bay, California, showing people how many pints of Ben & Jerry's
I saw that.
ice cream you have. Like, these people are suffering, they can't feed themselves, and you're showing them how many pints of $10 ice cream you have. Like, that's like just like mocking people.
Mm-hmm.
And
I did not know she was worth that much. That's insane.
$150 million bucks.
Something's up
and
there.
And she's not
then.
that smart.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's 82 years old. What are you still doing? I won't let my grandma that's 82 drive a car. What are you doing as the third most powerful person in this country?
Yeah.
You're like a dinosaur. And you know what's funny? If you've watched, politicians are getting older and older. You know why? Because they won't let go of the reins. So the two oldest presidents to ever run were Donald Trump and Biden.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't
because
think
they keep
about
getting
it like
older,
that.
but they won't give up the power.
Yeah, yeah. That's very. I never thought about it like that, but that makes sense.
So I think you should only be able to run between the ages of 35 and 65 because you have to be 35 to run.
Yep.
And anyone could have won this election. I feel like it was up for the taking. We had two buffoons.
Yeah.
You know, I say that you could pick between a clown and a village idiot. Like, take your pick. And it's just like this is what we've come to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's sad, man, because like I am a big fan of America, and I am a big fan of capitalism and free trade and enterprise. And without this system, I would have never had a chance to get to where I'm at today. And that's why I'm such a big believer in our system, because I'm living proof that it can work if you're willing to work really hard and, you know, get out of your comfort zone and do things that other people aren't willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so for people to come in and just start bashing that and wanting to destroy it, it's either because they're uneducated about it or they can't hack it themselves. It's basically another version of survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Or they want to destroy the country so they can maintain power for the next 5 centuries, right? So,
yeah.
But the proof is in the pudding. If you look around, America is the best living situation, the most powerful country that the world has ever seen today.
Mm-hmm.
That's because of capitalism and democracy. And America has more innovative thinkers and more billionaires than anywhere else in the world. Not per capita in the world. Like we have 1/4 of the population of China, but we have more billionaires than China as a whole.
Yeah.
It's because we said, hey, you know what? If you want to use your brain, which is extremely powerful, to come up with an innovative thing, you can make billions of dollars here, and no one's going to stop you. There's no other country like that. China, the government has ownership in almost every company in China.
Okay.
The communists own a piece of almost every company.
Yeah, yeah.
So the government's your partner.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'd want that.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at socialistic and communistic environments and countries, and I see that the people are all suffering, and only the upper echelon are living very well.
Yeah.
And I'm a data guy, right? I'm not thinking about how it's going to play out. I'm looking at other examples of how it played out.
Yeah.
And I look at America, I'm like, wow, this is where the biggest abundance of a pool of people are living their best lives.
Yeah. That's what it seems to me. That's why it's like common sense.
I'll give you guys a very important quote that's going to become very important as this country continues to either diminish or thrive.
Yeah.
And it's that no great country was ever built upon rewarding laziness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you're voting, like the liberals, for example, you're voting to try and make everyone equal, and you're voting to try to get more government programs in place. You're voting to get more assistance, right? So they're saying, yeah, you can still make $4,000 a month. You don't have to do anything. Just sit home. Just stay.
Yeah.
Right? So but that doesn't end well for anybody.
Mm-mm. No, it's
including
just like
them, because when the country goes under, there's no more anything to give them either.
Yeah.
So they're out in the cold as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. I just think, like you said, you just look at like what has worked and what hasn't. And
Right.
it seems to me every communism, socialist like project doesn't work.
down.
But every time they're like, oh, like I'll do it right this time.
Right. You know what?
like,
The
really?
last 800 times they messed it up, but I got this.
Yeah, it's like doesn't seem so.
You know, I think any type of government structure is far from perfect.
Yeah.
They all have massive flaws, but I still think democracy is your best bet at success.
Yeah.
As a country as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. If there's anything else you want to share, please do. But
No, I mean,
like, where can people follow you? Websites?
Yeah, let's see. I have a website, MatthewLeeMorgan.com. I have an Instagram, The Matthew Morgan. I have a YouTube channel, Never Sell Dope.
I like that name. Never saw that.
I'm actually considering that as my book title.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
So we'll see what happens. It's kind of catchy.
Yeah, I think so.
And we did some fun stuff on there. I used to have camera guys follow me around LA, so there's some of that.
Yeah.
If you want to see that party of Dan's house, it's on there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, that I have a podcast, Homegrown Hustlers. Look for a book to probably drop sometime in 21. And just gonna keep on blowing and going, and hopefully Florida is what I think it is.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome here. So, thank you again, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Bye.